Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how's your life? I hope you are doing well. Hi guys, glad to see you again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Widya from English Education Department, Kelas K2 Maritim Raja Ali Haji University. In this opportunity, I would like to explain to you about comparing and contrasting. Okay, the 8th point will be I explain. The first is the language of comparison, and the second, comparative sentences that explanation, and the third, writing a paragraph of comparison, and the fourth, the language of contrast, and the five, contrast, and the sixth, writing a paragraph of contrast, and the seven, sign experiment, and the last one is gathering data for comparison and contrast. Okay, let's get started. Okay, comparing and contrasting. Often in your writing, you will need to show how things are similar or different. When you compare two things, you show how they are similar. When you contrast two things, you show they are different. Okay, the first I will explain about the language of comparison. There, activity 1. Study the following patterns of comparison. There are affirmative sentences and negative sentences. For affirmative sentences, they are the first with be and the second with other verbs. And for with be, the example, the sentence, John is a student, George is a student. And the example of the language of comparison, A. John is a student and George is too. B. John is a student and so is George. And for the second, with other verbs. The sentence, Japan export car, Germany export car. And for the language and for the example of the language comparison, A. Japan export car and Germany does too. B. Japan export car and so does Germany. And B. Negative sentences. In the negative sentences, they are first with be and the second with other verbs. For with be, the sentence, the blue dress is not expensive. The green dress is not expensive. For the example of the language of comparison, A. The blue dress is not expensive, and the green dress is not either. B. The blue dress is not expensive and neither is the green dress. And the second with other verbs. The sentence, owls don't sleep at night, mice don't sleep at night. For the example of the language of comparison, A. Owls don't sleep at night and mice don't either. B. Owls don't sleep at night and neither do mice. Okay, this is study the following vocabulary which you will need to make comparison. Suggest similar to, similar, and blank blank to, and blank blank either, and so blank blank, and neither blank blank, but have blank blank in common, the same as blank blank as, be like. Okay, the second is comparative sentence. Example, the first, the Monitor and the Reporter are both weekly magazine. The example, the Monitor is a weekly magazine and so is the Reporter 9 a.m. Okay, the third is about writing a paragraph of comparison. The first, look at this biographical information about two important Americans, Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. Okay, their biographical information about their. Okay, before writing, make a list of the similarities between the two men. Okay, the biographical I find from there. The first is of the similarities between the two men I find. The first is the founder of the university, and the second important man in American Revolution, and the third philosopher and inventor. Okay, writing. Now write a paragraph comparing these two famous men. Use your list of similarities as a guide. Okay, this is the paragraph I wrote for the biographical information for similarities between the two men. Okay, let's read the paragraph. Two famous men American, they are Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. There are some similarities from their biographical information. Benjamin Franklin is the founder of the university and Thomas Jefferson does too. Benjamin Franklin was a philosopher and inventor, and so is Thomas Jefferson. Benjamin Franklin is an important man in American Revolution, and Thomas Jefferson is too. They are two important Americans who have several biographical similarities. Okay, the topic sentence in my paragraph is two famous men American. They are Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. There are some similarities from their biographical information. The topic is two famous men American, and the controlling idea is there are some similarities from their biographical information. Okay, the supporting sentence in my paragraph. From Benjamin Franklin is the founder of the university, and Thomas Jefferson does too. Until Benjamin Franklin is an important man in American Revolution, and Thomas Jefferson is too. And the concluding sentence in my paragraph is there are two important Americans who have several biographical similarities. The fourth is the language of contrast. This is the paragraph about the language of contrast. Anne and Beth are identical twins. Of course, they are alike in many ways. They are his same age, the same height, and the same weight. They also have the same color eyes and hair. However, they are also different in many ways. Study the following patterns. The first, Anne is funny, then Beth. Anne is busy, then Beth. Anne is cute, then Beth. Anne is nice, then Beth. Anne is smart, then Beth. And the second, Beth is more serious than Anne. Beth is more athletic than Anne. Beth is more creative than Anne. Beth is more interesting than Anne. Beth is more sophisticated than Anne. Okay, this expression of contrast, such as however, on the other hand, less than, but, be different, different from, more than, on the contrary, the blank blank is the most, worse. Okay, the 5 is contrast. Read the following paragraph. When Michelle was vacationing in Farmington last month, he ate lunch at the City Avenue Cafe and dinner at the famous French restaurant, Just Robert. His lunch was the worst meal he had ever eaten, but fortunately, his dinner was the best meal he had ever eaten. The cafe was dirty and noisy. However, Robert was clean and quiet. The waitress at the cafe were rude and the lights were so bright that they bothered his eye. On the other hand, the waitress in Chess Robert were polite and attentive, and the only light in the dining room came from candles. Michelle will always remember his delicious dinner at Robert, but he can not wait to forget his terrible lunch at the City Avenue Cafe. Okay, A, underline the expression of contrast. Okay, from the paragraph, I underline the expression of contrast. You can see the underline word. Okay, B, make a list of the differences between the two restaurants. Okay, this is the list of the differences between the two restaurants. You can see, okay, the C, writing a paragraph of contrast. Okay, this is the list of differences between the two plans. This is the paragraph that I wrote. Okay, let's read the paragraph together. One of my friends and I were planning a trip to Hawaii, and we come across two plans for this advertisement in the newspaper. In plan B, the price is expensive, $1,099, but status being is different from plan A. The price is only $799, but not satisfactory. In plan B, the length we are in there is 15 days, 14 nights, whereas in plan A, the length is only 8 days, 7 nights. In plan B, we can get to visit 4 islands, and we can get breakfast and dinner. However, in plan A, we just only get some facility include the look hotel accommodation, visit to island, and guide tour around each island. There's 2 plans, you can choose them, and we suggest the one you think to be better for you. Okay, the second is science experiment. Science experiments are often done to show comparison and contrast. And the last one is gathering data for comparison and contrast. If you have traveled to or met people from other countries, you know that there are both similarities and differences between cultures. In this activity, you are going to write a paragraph for focusing on the differences between one aspect of your culture and that some aspect in another culture. This is the example eating habit. I write the paragraph about eating habit. Okay, you can see the paragraph. Okay, I think that's enough for the explanation. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry for the mistake. Apologize me if I have some mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.